All right. Good morning. Good afternoon. Welcome to the New York session. I hope you're doing well. Okay. Um, I apologize if my screen is a little bit. I don't know how you see it on your side, but over the course of the weekend, I had an issue with my computer. I had to reinstall everything. I had to reinstall all my apps. I have to basically reinstall Windows because my internet was not working, and I don't know what was wrong. So I had to get myself a new network interface card, and when I got it, it was still not working. So I had to reinstall everything. So I lost all my previous settings for my OBS, which is the one that I use to stream these live sessions. So if you're seeing something different from the usual, I apologize. I will get it fixed probably by end of today, and then tomorrow we'll be back to the same settings. Okay. Without wasting too much time, let's dive into price action. So, on the dollar index, we are still stuck in that consolidation, and last week that was what I was anticipating. And in case you're wondering how, I anticipated the consolidation, it was because one, we were trading at this up candle here, and then we also have this down candle here. So those are two areas where price actually changed direction quickly. Okay, price changed direction quickly, so it's not going to be easy for it to drop, and it's not going to be easy for it to rally. That's why last week I mentioned what I mentioned. But this week, from the weekly perspective, I think we are likely going to take out previous week high. We can also go as high as this high here. We also have this old low and this old low, so there is a lot of resistance in this area, this old low and that old low. I think that up candle did line up with this low here, the closing price of that low. Okay, so the closing price of that low, that is where price struggled here, which line up with the last up candle, right? So on the other side, another level that can be of a problem will be this level, right? So this week I'm looking for a run above this high. It'll hit that same old low again, and then maybe a rejection, or if they can go through it, then it might reach for somewhere here, between this candle's high and that old low over there, and then we will basically come back down again, because like I said, I don't see the dollar index reversing yet. We have about 2 or 3 days for the market to close for the week, for the month. So there might be a potential, this is a potential, there might be a potential reversal in May, but that is also, it's going to be based on a confirmation. So beginning of next month can see price drop aggressively, and then maybe it will come back up. That's the kind of narrative that I'm running with, where we can go up this week to form the high, drop, and then by the end of the week, manipulation with the NFP to take out this low, and then maybe we come back up. Because May, as we all know, is a seasonal move for dollar to go up. Okay, it's a seasonal move for dollar to go up. So if we do get that, then the high might form somewhere in here. All right, so this week looking for a move to the upside. Okay, so dropping down to the H4, this low to this high, we might stay in there, and then we come back for the previous week high. So which is this week's high. Let's see where that high comes in at. So the high comes in at 99.939. 99.939. That's where we can go for this week, and the range that the price will trade within before going for that high will be this low here. So this low to that high, price can stay inside there and then aim for this low to this high. Okay, somewhere down here, or even 50% of that range, which is where this volume imbalance resides. They can dip into that and then make a run for this high. So that will be the best idea for this week. The easiest idea for this week is to wait for price to trade to that level and then move, look for a move to the upside, which in turn that will give you it will give you a trade idea on euro, pound, and Australian, maybe Australian and Aussie, but I would prefer you trade the pound and euro. You can add this pair to it, which is the dollar CAD, because that has also created a nice range, a bullish range here. So dollar CAD can also move up. I like it because we took out previous week low as well. So from the weekly perspective, we took out the previous week low, so they will take out this high. Okay, so on the H4, that will be the drawn liquidity, and the range, you can use this low to this high and buy somewhere here with your stop, and then aim for the high as a trade idea for this week. Okay, dollar yen, that can also be a trade that you can take to aim for this high, similar, and probably trade inside the fair value gap over here. So again, drop down to the H4, we have a nice little range over here, this low to this high, and buying 618, between 618 and 70.5 level to go up here. Okay, so that's also another good trade. I'll probably drop all these trades in the in the portal for all the members to actually take if I don't forget, because sometimes as soon as I finish the live sessions I forget. Okay, so that will be that. Let's look at British pound. I think in the case of British pound, I'll leave that and then focus on euro coming down here, or even somewhere down here. So euro, that's the high, that is the low. You're gonna be looking for this to that, and then you want to be selling short to come somewhere down, first of all here, and then there, this gap. Right, it's Monday, so obviously we will be observing it as Monday, but this trade might not be triggered today. It probably might be triggered tomorrow. So if it does trigger today, fine, but if it doesn't, then look out for it for tomorrow. Apart from that, I'm still interested in the continuation to the upside on the Aussie CAD. Similar to New Zealand CAD, I'm still interested in price going up. Pound Aussie, we are still in that range. I still think we're supposed to be trading down here. So again, this week we're still looking for a move down there. Last week we did take out previous week high and previous week low, so they've balanced out this area, because that was the previous week low taken and then it went up. So this area has now been balanced, so I would expect them to go and attack this low and that low now going forward for this week. Okay, Euro Aussie is not bad either, but it's up to you if you want to take that, because I would also want to see them move somewhere here. So I would like to see them move somewhere there as well. Okay, so that is that. Yeah. In terms of gold, so based on how last week ended, let me remove all this drawing. I think what I placed yesterday still stands, that the week was gonna close like a down candle, and then this week they are likely gonna take out the previous week low and then reject and go up again. So watch these candles low, they will come for that, ideally come for that. That will, from this gap we need to come down here and then reverse and go up. Watch that gap here. If they trade through it, then it's gonna continue going up to take out last week's high. Okay, so this week we want them to take out previous week low, which comes in at 3272.5. Once they take that low out, then you're gonna look for a rejection, maybe a shift in the market structure, breaking the last up candle, which is this one here. Then we look for a buy to continue going up. So gold, I'm still bullish, I'm not bearish. This is just, in my opinion, a pullback, and we continue going up. Now what it can also do, this high to this low, because that's the last down candle here, it can trade within that. You can trade within that and then still go up, but I would prefer they would take out just this low and go up. So if you see it going beyond that on the H4, watch this area. If you see price going beyond this gap here, let me highlight it properly. Okay, if you see it going beyond that gap, put your attention here, OTE, and then we want to see them reject and go back up again. But from what I'm seeing, it should not actually do that. Price can do whatever it wants. It's just that when you are looking, you can anticipate sometimes what price is likely going to do, and based on what I'm seeing, it's likely not going to do that move to that downside. But in case it does, at least you know what to do. Okay, you're gonna wait for that area and then you look for the buy to continue going up. Crude oil. Let's go to the weekly. So based on how last week ended, it's likely going to take out previous week low, because we took out a previous week high. So we are likely going to take out the previous week low, which is over here, and still, okay, that H4 auto block, this one, watch that, because if they come and attack previous week low, that level can be where they will hit and then go back up into this area. I think with such move, this move to the downside and this sharp move back up, that to me is a shift in market structure. So it can trade, or should be trading to somewhere up here before, if you're gonna continue going down. So that's why I've been looking for higher prices. So yeah, I think that would be the best thing. Wait for them to run the previous week low, hit this level, which comes in at 61.42. If they touch 61.42, which is this down candle, let me find the actual level. Okay, that's the level, 61.35. If they come to that level, you want to see on the lower time frame a confirmation, maybe on a 5-minute or on a 15 minutes, a shift in market structure. Then you can look for the buy. So you're going to be looking for something like this, and then we go higher. Okay, I'll try my best and drop all these ideas in there. Okay, and then finally ES. I think last week we spoke about ES a lot. It did do me 30. Hopefully this week will not, but from the weekly perspective, this is the last swing high, that's the last swing low, so we are in a bearish range somewhere in here. That is still the area. I think we spoke about this last week. That's the area that we need to pay attention to. That's where price is going. Now, as you can see, this price action is similar to crude oil. Okay, so if you look at it critically, or just visualize it, put crude oil on the other side. It's the same thing. The only thing that ES did was basically attack this low before going up, right? And I think last week, if you remember, I said because of that pattern, ES was going to come and attack this, because crude oil had already gone and attacked that high. So we'll be looking for them to trade up here, okay, this week. And on the lower time frame, we had such a big move during the New York session over here. So in case we see any manipulation to the downside, watch this area. Watch this area. That was an area of an imbalance. And then I think it's these two. Alright. So that will be where if we drop, we might see a reaction of and then price will resume going up again. So that's where we want to see price drop to, and then we resume going up. Okay, so New York session, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, preferably tomorrow, down and then move up, or even today they move down then they move up. Okay, I think that is that. In terms of news events, let me double check. Bear with me, I am connecting to double check the news event. It seems okay, it's not allowing me to log into the account, so let me just use Forex Factory for now. We do have a nice news data. I wanted to pick it up, but it's not coming, so let me use Forex Factory for now. I want us to look at what is possible for this week in terms of high impact news. Okay, so in terms of high impact news, today we have the CAD federal election. Okay, that's interesting. So we do have a federal election on the CAD, which means Canada is having or holding a general federal election. Okay, and then on Tuesday, tomorrow, 3 p.m, maybe we might have some big moves happening. And then Wednesday, early hours in the morning, we have CPI for Australian dollar. And then Wednesday, 1:30, we have GDP for CAD, advanced GDP for dollar. Then Thursday, we have rate announcement for the Japanese yen. Then Friday is going to be non-farm payroll, which is the usual non-farm payroll. Now on Saturday you might also have parliamentary election on the Australian dollar. On Saturday you might have parliamentary election on the Australian dollar. Now that can affect the Australian dollar over the course of the weekend. So maybe towards Friday, you need to be careful when you're doing any sort of trading. Over the weekend, you need to be careful when you're doing any sort of trading, because that can affect the Australian dollar pairs. So maybe I'll guide us when we're getting towards the weekend, so we don't fall for any price gap or unnecessary movement when we open the market next week, Monday. Okay, so that's the news event for this week. Okay, that's the news event for this week. So let's now transition to the crypto market. Okay, so with the crypto market, starting with AI16Z, last week ended as a big up candle, trading above this up candle here. I'm actually now convinced that we would trade to that fair value gap up there. Okay, maybe they might print a down candle somewhere in here before going, or they were just gonna go up there. So look for a continuation to the upside on the AI16Z. So we are heading towards the 33 level. If we break, now this is going to be crucial for AI16Z. If we break 45, if we break the 45 level, that's game time. We will be screaming up to maybe 1.6 if we break 45. Okay, so listen closely. If we break 45, 0.4543, then we will be coming to 1.25, sorry, 1.26, then 1.63. Okay, so because that is the last range that price is gonna struggle to overcome, but if we can overcome it, then there's going to be lots of laughing, and that level comes in at this, because that's the previous month high. Once this month closes, it can trade to that, because that will be a potential level for price to reach for. However, that small little fair value gap there, that's where the problem is going to be. So that's where we're going to be monitoring, because that up candle is within, the fair value gap is within this last up candle on the weekly time frame. Okay, moving on to Solana. I think Solana is also doing great. On the weekly, we were able to close above the previous week high. We've gone above this up candle. So now we are going to be expecting the month to stay as it is. Then next month we will be looking for a move above March high. So March high will come in at $179.96. that equal high right there, and this the fair value gap right above it. If the month stays as it is, that's likely going to be a target. Okay, let me just use this one. Okay, that right there, that equal high. If the month stays as it is, that is likely going to be a draw on liquidity, and you can use on the daily time frame this gap and this down candle as your support. If we lose them, then forget about that idea. Okay, if we lose that, forget about that idea. Until then, stay with that direction. Okay. Bitcoin, I think they accumulated over here, and I'm expecting them to resume going up. Now, there's nothing in terms of fair value gap over here apart from that little one up here. Oops, that fair value gap up there. So if we can close above the down candle printed yesterday, which I think it's likely, if we can close above it, then that might be the draw on liquidity. Okay, and what I will also want to see is, if you can see on the monthly over here, I spoke about this last week. If the month can close above the previous month high here, turning this candle into green, then that 144 level, okay, is possible, which is just a projection of this down movement. I think it's on the weekly. Nope. It's on the monthly. Right, these two down candles can be projected to the upside, and that can be used as a target. So we've got about 2 days and 12 hours to go. If that 2 days and 12 hours can finish above the high that we are currently at, previous month high, then we are likely going to see Bitcoin reach, first of all, I think, let's do the projection again. Yeah, I think it was up to that low. Yeah. So 144.35. 130.978. Then 118.930. So first level, okay. Now it's under a condition. Okay, and it needs to be a condition that satisfies this idea. The condition is price needs to close above previous month high. That is the only condition that will satisfy price reaching for these levels. Okay, so don't get it twisted. If by the next 2 days and 12 hours price does not close above this, forget all these targets. Okay, forget all these targets. But if you can close above this high, then you can consider those targets. Okay, so that is the business for Bitcoin. Okay, carrying on. Ethereum, I think Ethereum too, we did mention that we are likely going to go above this. Only problem that is facing now is that small H4 fair value gap over there. Now, gaps that reside within order blocks. Gaps that reside within order blocks. I repeat again, gaps that reside within order blocks are so powerful. So here, this is the up candle prior to the move down. Okay, that's an auto block, especially when it's coming off from a fair value gap or an imbalance. Okay, so this up candle prior to the move down, right? Inside it, there's going to be a gap. That gap, most of the time, is where price likes to go. So here, if you look down here, this down candle prior to the move up. Now, not every down candle prior to the move up is an auto block. There needs to be some form of a PD array within price range that thing is happening. So for example, this one here, that is not an auto block. This up candle prior to this move down, that is not an auto block. This one here prior to this move down, that is not an auto block. This one is. Okay, let me see. This one also is an auto block. This one is not. This one is an auto block. Okay, maybe in future we'll talk about auto blocks, but here the reason why price is struggling is because there is a gap within it, which is this one, and that's why price is struggling. But price will eventually, I think, trade through it. It's powerful. When I say powerful, it's strong. Let me stop using the word powerful. It's a strong gap, so price will struggle to trade through it. But if we can trade through it, that same area can act as resistance and hold price to send it higher. Okay, but I would prefer you look at all the other ones, especially the next one, which is hype. So hype, last week, as I was giving it that we're gonna go for this high, it did come back down to attack the low, and that is normal because we are still in the lower quadrant of the range. When I say lower quadrant of the range, when you measure the price range, this high to this low, okay, we are still below 50%, so they can run stops. Even if I put it here, this range, we are still below the 50%, so they can run stops, which is fine. Now, once the stops has been run, that's the time for price to scream, like they did over here. Right? Price came down, came up, engineered equal high, came back down, took out the low, and then scream up. Same thing, come down, pull back, engineer equal high, come back down, take out the low. So I think it will be worth buying hype. Hype is worth buying to go to the next area of distribution here. All right, so look for hype to continue going up. Again, maybe if I do find it, I'll drop a trade ID on hype as well for this equal high, and then somewhere up here. Let me check on the daily. Okay, that is not an auto block. It's not an auto block to me. There's no fair value gap within it, so we'll be expecting them to trade through it. So buying this breaker, stop loss going below this down candle, expecting them to continue going up, taking partial somewhere here. That is, that's going to be a good one for hype. XRP, I think the narrative is still there. We're looking for continuation to the upside. That was all reaccumulation. I think we spoke about this gap last week extensively. If they close below it, then it's game over. They're going to go down, but you can see it rejected and then they've sustained it to go up. Now what we want to see is a move here. Okay, that will be the next target. It comes in at 2.390. Now I prefer XRP and AI16Z and Bitcoin. Okay, those three: XRP, AI16Z, and Bitcoin. Those three. Solana, I'm not so much keen of because it has too many resistance going up. Ethereum, same thing, too much resistance going up. XRP doesn't have that much of resistance. Solana does have lots. AI doesn't have that much. Why? Because it's new. So all these down candles accumulation, we could just go up. XRP, same thing. As a matter of fact, XRP is a good one based on what I have read about it. Based on what I've read about it, it looks like it's a good one to be actually holding. And I like the fact that we couldn't even come back all the way down here. Okay, so continuation to the upside on XRP. Hype is not bad as well. Hype is not bad as well. It's also a good one to hold on to. Let's look at Tatuo. So Tatuo, I think previous month high. Once this month ends in a couple of days, that will be the drawn liquidity here, and then potentially there as well. Okay, now when price is reversing, usually you would want to see a down candle closed above immediately, like this one here. You want all this to go up and close, just like Bitcoin is trying to do right now. Okay, just like Bitcoin is trying to do right now. When price is reversing, you want that, because that is what we call a change in the state of delivery. The change in the state of delivery is when price will, from an algorithmic principles perspective, you have the idea that, so look at it from an algorithmic principle perspective. If price closes down here, right, it means it was able to close lower compared to the previous candle. Okay, so when price is reversing, you want the closing price to be above the high, or at least minimum above the opening price. So this is the opening price, this is the high. Okay, so when we want a change in the state of delivery, at least we want either the close above the closing price, the opening price, or the high. The best one is above the high, but if you don't get that, then the closing above the opening price should be at least achieved. So if I sync this over there, we want at least price to close above this level, which comes in at 0.00258. If we can close above that, that will be a good sign that the next candle is going to be an up candle, because the delivery of price will switch from being delivered to the downside, as it's been doing for the last 3 months, January, February, March, to now delivering to the upside, which is April, May, June. Okay, so 0.0258 level, watch that. We have about let's see, let me check the calendar. We have 2 days to including today 3. So if we can go up today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, closing above that high, then that will be interesting going forward. Okay, that'll be very interesting going forward, because that will be a sign that they are going to close above the opening price. Because the high, I don't think the high, they can close above the high. I don't see them closing above the high, because it's way too high. Okay, the high is at 0.00347 and the rest is too far away. So let's see if they can close above the opening price. All right, minimum. If they close as it is, still we will look for the high, which is this month, because that will open May and this will be April high. Okay, which is this one here. So this is April, and then in 3 days time we open a new candle, May. That will take price to April high, and then maybe this high as well. Okay, then finally Chachki, we did eventually trade and close above the gap, so up, we're going to go up 0.000331. That's a likely price level for price to reach for. Now on the monthly time frame, if we can go a little bit more, because that's where price is struggling, if we can go a little bit more up and close above this monthly low, the February low, that'll be very, very good. Okay, even with what is happening, it can cause price to print the next candle to be an up candle like this and close above that, which is not bad. Okay, because that's one way price reverses. It doesn't always have to reverse with their rejection above previous candles low. So in other words, what I'm trying to say is price doesn't always have to give you something like this. Okay, it doesn't have to give you something like this, which is rejecting the previous candles low over here before giving an up candle to go up. Sometimes it can be like what is forming or likely going to form, something like this, and then the next candle will go up. Okay, which is maybe what I'm printing here. Okay, that's 2 ways, or there's another way which maybe in future we'll discuss, how price actually reverses, and it's very low, so it can do that if again Bitcoin stays the way I'm expecting it. Then we can actually expect something like that. So Tachki, all that I need, just a little bit push, if they can, to go above 0.0000266, and then that will give more confidence. If it doesn't, that's fine, because they've traded 3 days big imbalance, so, and that one, so it's likely gonna break this, and then that will print potential up candle for the month of April. I'm sorry, for the month of May. Okay, so that is that for Tachki, And that is that for the crypto market. Okay, so back to us. We will be meeting tomorrow, same time, 1 p.m. and then we will see what the market will have for us. Until then, have a wonderful day, and I will see you all tomorrow. Take care.